Well.
Alrighty, guys. Happy Tuesday to everybody. Good time to be back out here after 2 days off. Worked more situational practice today. You saw a little bit of tempo being instilled, obviously, in our league, several tempo teams, so we really made that a point of emphasis, really for our defense in a segmented kind of situation. And then we worked up our backed up situations where, you know, it was extremely valuable to us when I go back and watch tape from last year situationally, how important our backed up defense was last year. I think about that Notre Dame game and it being 10-6 and getting that ball spotted on the -7 for Notre Dame's offense and getting a 3 and out and punting it to Dory Jackson, and then all of a sudden you look up and it's 17-6 after that punt return. So those situations are critical for us to be able to work. I thought the kids did a nice job today with it. As far as injury report, got a little bit of bad news on Vianney. His elbow did require surgery. Thank you to Keck Medical, and Dr. Taponi did a wonderful job. Had a little bit of a tear of a bicep, not partially torn, not all the way, that needed to be corrected. He should be ready for training camp in the early part of training camp. Should be ready for game 1, but he's going to have to require some rehab. That's the only major news coming out of Saturday. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you have.
When was the surgery for Vianney?
It was today. They did it today.
How does that affect things on the line? I mean, already, because Nico's been limited and Cho's out.
Yeah, you're looking at 3 guys that have started a lot of ball right now, and you get late in spring, and you have those nicks and bruises that come on. But you know, you think about those are 3 key members of our line for next year with Nico, with Toa, and Vianney, and with having those guys out, I look forward to getting them back for hopefully 29 practices during summer camp. And you know, the summer workout, the PRPs will be invaluable for those guys to be able to get work. So it hurts us a little bit offensively when you have that kind of experience out, but it's a great opportunity for some young guys to get out there and get extra reps. I'm looking at Andrew Voorhees or Roy Hemsley getting those type of reps are the ones, you know, those are valuable to see where they are.
How do you assess, given that a lot of people are out, how do you assess the line? It looked like in the goal line section, the defensive line was getting a lot of pressure in there. Yeah, it's a lot of young guys.
Yeah, the backed up coming out. Yeah, definitely. You try not to pull your hair out, but and you expect your defense to perform the way they are, and you expect to have some growing pains with some young guys, but they're meaningful reps that are going to hopefully carry over to when their opportunity comes. Like I tell our guys, we really, you know, don't overcoach the ones. Basically, the top guys. We have to build up our 2s and 3s right now, and that's what spring camp is for, is to be able to teach those young guys and get them to a situation where they're functionable come fall.
It seems like a lot of people are playing on the line in different positions, maybe with the exception of Chuma, who's sticking it left. Is that a philosophy thing, or is that a need thing?
No, it's a little bit of need and a little bit for us to get a feel for, you know, who fits where. You know, you saw us with Andrew go do tackle and guard to be able to train him on both of those. You see the same thing with Roy. We do some of that because you look up, and as we've seen over the past couple of years, those guys need to be able to be trained in 2 positions, because if you get a couple injuries, you're going to have to move one. So we will double train guys, whether it's a guy playing center guard, a guy playing tackle or guard, just to be able to be ready for the worst possible case scenario.
Do you feel good about your place kicker today? I tell
you what, he's being. I really enjoyed what he did on the kickoffs today. You know, we've been working a lot of field goals, but kind of put him in a pressure situation of really team kickoffs and those guys being able to see it. And I think the minimum he had was -2 in the end zone. It was anywhere from -2 to -8. So very productive day. Had a little wind behind him. He had a little bit of help there, but overall he is showing consistency. We knew he has a strong leg, plenty of leg to make any kick. Field goal wise, strong enough leg to get touchbacks. It was the overall consistency coming out of fall, and he's starting to show that. Credit to John Baxter and helping him with his technique.
Nico was mentioning that he had talked about playing tackle because of the pace of things.
you guys are doing more spread, more plays in the game. Can tackles be a little smaller now, like 300 pounds essentially?
Well, you know, if you recall, Nico and Toa play tackle for us on this football team. And, you know, one of the things with Nico that we're going to have to explore, got a little bit of a back issue. Obviously, he's a guy that's in our top 5, you know, all offensive linemen, as well as Toa. And you look at that and you got to see what other positions they can play. And sometimes by playing tackle, the load of the tackle position is not as much as center. You know, you look at you're playing center and you're blocking Stevie Tuikolavato every play. That's a pretty good load on the back compared to a tackle position. You know, so we're going to look at both and play around with it. The thing that I like in the way we recruit athletes that can play multiple positions. And I think about the guys that we recruited, a Max Turek, who really didn't come in here as a center and got started at tackle. They went to guard, they went to center, and that was his final home. The same thing with Nico and Toa. You know, by multi-training guys, I think you can create yourself as a better asset, not only for this league but the next league.
Matt Fink has kind of a different throwing motion. Have you tried to change that at all, or are you going to just let him?
No, you know, I think one of the things that he does, I think we all have our own unique throwing motion. We usually tinker more with the lower mechanics, Scott. The upper body mechanics, when you get to this, it better be very minute. It's hard to really retrain a guy that's, you know, 19 years old and has been throwing basically his whole life. You can train some lower body. The upper body's a little bit different. Maybe change a grip a little bit. When Matt has a tendency to throw, his wrist bends a little bit and the ball rolls off some. I know Tyson has been working pretty hard to be able to get something like that, something very minute, but we focus more on lower body mechanics. And to be honest with you, when you look at the guys in this realm, we're not playing 7-on-7. You look at the best quarterbacks, they have different arm angles, because when you're under pressure, those guys that are the perfect mechanics, usually there's somebody in your way. You better be able to throw it here, or here over the top, depending on pressure and depending on who's in your face.
You said you run tempo today for the benefit of the defense, but
Yes.
you watch as you run tempo saying, you know, that may be something in terms of the offense.
Yeah, it's always been a part of us being no huddle, and we do use tempo in the pro style, and it's something that as I go back and I've been consistently watching last year's tape to gain valuable knowledge and lessons from games. And one of the things that I go back and see is how productive we were in 2-minute situations. And I think a lot of it's because of our no huddle being able to use tempo and just being part of our procedure. There were some valuable experiences that I go back and look at. I think about the 2-minute drive in the Rose Bowl. I think about the 2-minute drive right before halftime at Washington from the -18 with 2:26 on the clock and 2 timeouts, and really driving that ball down and not using a timeout and only leaving about 20 seconds on the clock for Washington. So those are valuable situations. I think a lot of that production comes from how we run our offense in the no huddle.
Does that also give you a chance to play for 290-pound offensive linemen? I mean, does that allow
definitely.
you?
Yeah, definitely. I think that one of the things that happens when you're playing 11 personnel, like we're doing and being a no huddle, is the athleticism does come out. You can wear some guys down. I look at us and I felt we were an extremely strong team in second halves last year, and especially the second half of the season. I thought we were in great condition going through that second half. I felt like we were healthy. I felt like we were conditioned, and obviously we played strong in November.
T said that it was Michael Pittman's best day of practice today. Can you kind of assess the progress he's made since last week?
Yeah, I was really proud. And one of the things I said, you know, when you get in that backed up area, that's kind of where you got to be a grown man. There's going to be some catch-bang situations that happen, especially on third down. You saw Deontay make a great play on 3rd and 8 on a slant. Catch-bang situation makes a first down. And then Pitt gets an opportunity on a high ball catch at 6'3" and some change over a smaller DB, and goes up and high ball and makes a great play that leads to a first down, keeps a drive going. That was on a 3rd and 7, I think. We're either punting from the 4-yard line or we're moving the ball down the field. And I told him afterwards, I said, those are the type of plays he's going to have to make for us, those tough catches that a Darius made for us last year, or Juju made. You know, those things where people are draped all over you and you use your physicality and your size to out-strength a guy, out-physical a guy.
Okay.